Good afternoon, Superkickin with Stephen fans. Your favorite host right here, Stephen A. 1181. Greg will be joining me shortly. We know he's lamenting his loss for the Phoenix Suns, and I'm sure he will be coming on as we speak. So, as far as wrestling is concerned, Raw, we saw a new champion emerge. We saw a new title contender emerge. NXT, we saw a cliffhanger to the end with William Regal getting taken out. On AEW, we saw a new champion. We saw, a new face in AEW as well. And on SmackDown, we saw a rivalry kickoff. We saw a possible contender come out. So lots of wrestling stuff to talk up. Lots of good stuff. We'll give Greg a second. He's coming on his way. I know he wants to, give a little thoughts on his Phoenix Suns taking a loss, unfortunately, in the NBA Finals. But he's still repping the stuff, as we could see. Look at him right there in all the glory. You have a shirt of the Suns underneath your jersey, it looks like. Is that correct? Or is that just a jersey?
Yeah, this is the staying with the with the theme, loyal to the soil.
I saw the sleeve. There's a little extra sleeve to your jersey. That's why I didn't know what was going on there.
Yeah, the t-shirt under there, but yeah.
Last week we were pouring out some 40s for losses. Did you pour out a little 40 for your Suns this week?
Yeah, I'd say I did. I've had every confidence in the world that when we come back on today, I'd be celebrating a championship today, and didn't go our way. So got to give it to them. As much as I hate to do it, we lost to the better team. It's hard to say that, but you got a team over there with 3 bona fide all-stars, and that's the inexperience finally caught up to them. They cut through the Western Conference like a hot knife through butter, and it was looking good up 2-0, but those games got hairier when they got back to Milwaukee, and that experience kicked in. Those all-stars started doing all-star things, and Giannis was unstoppable. So, got to give it to him. As I told a friend of mine, because I lived in Wisconsin for a good 5-6 years. I have great friends back there. I told him if it was anybody but the Suns, I would have been rooting for the Bucks. So,
yeah.
In hindsight, now I've had a little bit of time to get away from it. Props to them, but I hate it. They did it against my squad, but I'm a Charger fan, so I'm used to the disappointment and the heartbreak and all that stuff. So, but they're set up for a long, long run. I mean, 7 of their guys are under 25, and 12 of their guys are under the age of 30. They keep this core together, and they're going to make a run for a long, long time. Devin Booker, the superstar, is only 24 right now. So they're looking great. They're going to go, and they're going to become a destination now for, some of those bigger name guys who are leaving their team to be looking around the landscape going, where can I go? Hey, let me go over there and play with D Book. That guy's a superstar. And,
exactly.
We're going to be players in the game now instead of just being that other team. Taking backseats to the Lakers and the Clippers and all the higher profile, bigger market teams. They're building something big down there in Phoenix, and people are going to want to get on with that. So,
and got the right coach in there, it looks like.
Exactly. He turned that team around right away as soon as he came in, changed the culture, and now they're winning. They have an absurd winning percentage right now, even considering their finals losses. So, they've won 80% of their games, going back to the bubble. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they're set up really, really nicely for a good long run, probably longer than Golden State's run, consider how young they are.
Well, that's what's funny. You bring up Golden State, and we just think, we thought they're the next dynasty, and then then they go back down because injuries, and now it looks like they're trying to get, trading out of the 7th spot. My Pacers have been mentioned trading guys for, Miles Turner for Wiseman, which I don't want to. I think because that's what it feels like. It feels like the Warriors only need maybe one or two pieces to kind of get back in that. And my Pacers, I'm not ready to give up. I mean, we just, like some people said, well, you just made a coaching change. Well, that coaching change, sometimes that's all you need. I mean, look at Atlanta. They went from Lloyd Pierce to Nate McMillan, and, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's like sometimes that coaching change is all you need just to get, the right coach in there. So, I think the draft, we got the draft coming up in a week or two, I think. So we'll see if, teams trade out or whatnot. But I think you guys got Chris Paul for, you get a couple good years out of him left maybe, and that could help, keep things rolling or get the right veteran. And who, so I did see that Monty Williams congratulate the Bucks. That was pretty cool to see. He went into there. Yeah. You don't really see it that often, the opposing coach in there, the actual locker room. You might do the press conference saying, oh yeah, I want it, but he was in there and like he seems like the right guy. So props to the Bucks. I think the last championship they won was 1971 with Oscar and Kareem, maybe. Yeah. Which you think? Wow, that's a pretty good 1-2 right there. So
he was still a little less into back then, so he hadn't even changed his name yet.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Yep, because 71. Good stuff back there. But as well, we have new champion to talk about on Raw. That's a nice segue there, isn't it? Which we'll get to at the end. Did you have any thoughts on Money in the Bank as a whole, Greg? I know we kind of chatted here and there, but for me, I thought it was a pretty solid night. Very surprised. I thought the Nikki Ash was kind of a surprise, fluky, win. I thought the men's match was really solid. It seemed like everybody kind of got their time to shine, as we always think. And, I thought Big E is a really solid choice. And I'm really going to be interested to see which side of the direction. We've already seen where Nikki Ash is going. And we'll talk about that. And most people already know that she got the title. So once again, a short reign. I think the women, and I think Carmella's the only one who feels like she's held it, like she has the longest reign for 200 some days, 271, I think it was. And everybody else feels like, I know Bailey, I think Bailey cashed in the same night. I thought Alexa cashed in the same night as well. Yeah. And then you had Carmella. So it's like, they must just want to, just kind of, and of course, Asuka, last year got the title. So we'll kind of see. I feel like with Big E, they're going to wait it out. I think Big E, he's like right on that cusp. I still think he needs some singles victories, just kind of really, a good feud or two here and there, or a good couple matches, and then you get his name in. But then again, if I look on the Raw side and I look what New Day's gone through against Bobby Lashley, it makes a lot of sense if Big E can get in there. And I think the thing with Big E, I want him to do the face thing and say, I want the champion at blah, blah, blah. Don't do the cheap cash in. I mean, Nikki did it and it worked. But at the same time, I feel like with Big E, he doesn't have that. Or, I don't think he has – it shouldn't work that way with him, if that makes sense. So everything else, Money in the Bank was fine. Nothing really earth-shattering. Well, we did see the Usos win the title in the pre-show. That was pretty surprising, I thought. But then again, if you really want to run with the bloodline, you might as well, like we always say, strike when the iron's hot. So, But Greg, did you have any kind of, thoughts on Money in the Bank as a whole? Kind of give it to us.
Yeah, I really loved the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. It was great seeing them, back in front of a full house. And I was watching really closely to seeing how they were going to respond to all the performers, because it's what we've been talking about for weeks and weeks. These guys are going to think they're over, and when they come out, they're going to get a hard reality check for some of them. And so I was really listening in for, seeing what kind of pop are these guys getting. How are they responding? What are they chanting? Because now you can't control it. You can't turn the level up and, generate the reaction that you want. But you could tell that, they miss the live action. The crowd was electric. You're feeling it through your TV, and you could tell the performers turned up. There wasn't a bad match on the card. Everybody brought it. Everybody performed. And the only ones who really dropped the ball was Peacock Network when they get ready to have the men's Money in the Bank, and we went into glitch mode, and we missed at least I did. I missed everything from the Applebee's promo to the entrances of all the Money in the Bank participants for the men's match. And that was something I was looking forward to seeing was, what kind of reaction is Riddle getting? What kind of reaction is Morrison getting? What kind of, and there was a Johnny Drip Drip chant going out. And it's like, okay, that doesn't surprise me. Well, maybe it did a little bit, but, what kind of reaction is everybody getting? E got love. And then, they blew up for all the big high spots. And there were so many of them. And it's like you said, everybody got their moment to, show off, look like $1 million. And, you could tell it was the first pay-per-view back in forever, with the crowd, not counting WrestleMania. But great show all around. And I was really impressed with, how everybody did across the board. And consider the John Cena return, the earth-shattering moment there at the end when
and I didn't even get to bring that up. Of course, I forgot about that, right?
Yeah,
which is crazy to think because it's John Cena, and we all saw it coming. And it was funny because he just comes out and just salutes the crowd and leaves. But then, of course, it does look like as well they're going to let him kind of be looks like I wonder if he'll jump back and forth between Raw and SmackDown. Like he won't be assigned a brand because he was on Raw and then he was on SmackDown. So the John Cena pop was really great, and we gotta dig into that for SmackDown because we had a little change up there. It looks like, and I'll be curious to see how that plays out. So, but what I was reading was WWE had no idea the Peacock stuff was going on because they have their own feeds. So I guess they don't have the Peacock feed there, so they had no clue. So they couldn't do anything about it because it's so hopefully Peacock does get that all sorted out because like you said I think we got I think we missed the first 5, 7, 10 minutes of that match, and it was everybody. I mean, which I kind of was happy. I was only glad to see that was everyone. Sometimes on my end or your end, like you said, it might be internet or it might be the network or something. But this was like I in Twitterverse it was just everybody scrolling like. I was surprised it wasn't trending, but that was my own thing. I was like, well, it's the Peacock Network, so I can't up my internet, can't reset the boot, restart it. I mean, I eventually restarted, but it kind of sucks. Like you said, we didn't get to see the entrances, so I haven't gone back to rewatch it. So I guess I could go back and rewatch it, kind of see how everybody. But the Miz and John Morrison came out for the pre-show and got a huge, because I was wondering all of a sudden you heard the crowd like brewing at the kickoff show, and it was Morrison and Miz, and they're gonna. I do think I could see little kids buying the drip sticks and shooting people at home with those, and maybe bringing them to the arena, just having them, but kind of like the DX glow sticks and all that. So whatever works, but so we will get into Raw where John Cena came out to start. I think it made sense. John Cena kicking off, coming back, looking fresh, looking like he's is going to be there through SummerSlam and then go off and film another movie and then come back whenever he does. But he issues a challenge to Roman Reigns, which is what we kind of expected. I think that's where we're headed until we got to SmackDown. But any thoughts on John Cena back and going after Roman Reigns? It does feel like there's a little – because we saw that No Mercy in 2017, I think it was, or 2018. I can't – whichever that No Mercy and – the hype was there. I don't know if the match was as much, but this is kind of a different Roman too. So it'd be interesting to see how they play it off if it does in fact happen with the Finn Balor aspect hanging in the weeds as well. So Greg, any thoughts on the opening segment with John Cena and calling out Roman?
Yeah, I love it. John Cena is that guy. He's whenever he comes back, he's going to get that love, he's going to get that respect now, and especially the longer he goes away, the more he's going to get it. And he's been gone for quite a while now. So when he came out at the end of the pay-per-view and the place just blew up, that was all the affirmation you needed right there, that the guy's still relevant. He still got it. So everybody still likes the chant. He doesn't have to make a move. He just has to show up, and everybody's going to be behind it. And this is the match that we've been clamoring for from the beginning. I mean, we got in 2017, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't. We didn't get what we wanted with Reigns finally going heel. We didn't get that ultimate clash of good and bad. And
well, they rushed it back then too. Like, remember, there was it was like a month buildup, and that was it. So this, I mean, this is probably about a month too, but at the same time, Reigns has been building himself up. Like this, like you said, this feels like it's going to be a bigger deal, especially in Vegas on like a Saturday night. I mean, that's something right there. So, sorry to interrupt, but
Roman had to, grow into his clothes as it is. He was still green back then, and he was still learning what to do. He was still learning how to carry himself in the ring. It's different when you don't have Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose standing next to you. So all you have to do is stand there and growl and look hard. There's a different weight to having to carry the load by yourself. And remember, there was that epic promo back then where John Cena told Roman, I'm still here because you're not ready, to paraphrase. And it was, they, broke down that fourth wall, as they like to say, bringing the truth into the promo. And, Roman couldn't cut a good promo. He was still, lacking with his ring work and was skating by on just being over. And it took that time to, grow into his clothes, to, reach his full potential. And now he's there. Now he can give a rock solid promo, and now he can get his matches over and looking like $1 million. And, he's ready. And now he's in that role that you want him in when John Cena comes back. There's no, he's a tweener. There's no, gray area. It's defined: good, bad, right, left. And now it's, the clash of the Titans, King Kong versus Godzilla right now. So, no better to have him come out first and lay down the who, what, when, where, why, and the way he did on Raw, and set the table. And it would be, this is what I expected to happen, with this angle, that they're not going to be getting physical with each other, until maybe the go home show. So they're going to have to fill it that time somehow. And so, Cena's going to be on both brands, raising the roof, and, people are going to be coming to see them on the road, and they're going to want to see him. So he's that guy who transcends both brands. He transcends the business almost right now. So he's going to be on both brands, but he's going to be focused on Roman, and we're going to eventually get that match. But this is a good way to fill that time and fill that space.
Here's kind of a hot spot question. Does Cena wrestle on SmackDown or Raw before then?
I think he will.
I think he will too. Like in a tag match or 6-man, or so it's something that he doesn't have to do a lot with. Or like you said, if somebody just calls him out, maybe he teams up with Riddle. Because I didn't even bring up that. We had the bro segment between him and Riddle, which is I think that's almost like a seal of approval. It felt like okay, Cena's giving the green light to Matt Riddle. That's something big. So but go ahead and see where you think Cena might end up wrestling or whatever might happen.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you that Cena is signing off with Riddle, because he knows what he can do, and he's got that potential in him. But I can definitely see that weekend before, or the go home show before SummerSlam, John Cena versus main event Jey Uso. Going down with, Roman at commentary or watching from the stands or watching from the ramp, something like that. I can definitely see the Usos calling him out, and then possibly a tag team match.
Just a second. I got somebody at my door. Keep talking.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. The way this is set up with the next few, we got a month before SummerSlam, and the promos are going to be fire. It's going to be back and forth. These two trying to one up each other. Paul Heyman getting in the mix. And I love the segment. And we have got SmackDown, but Paul Heyman walking out singing John Cena's music got me laughing out loud because that was unexpected, and he played it to the T. But those three characters in there, Cena, Heyman, and Reigns going back at each other for the next month. Yes, please, give me some more of that.
I was wondering if Cena will team up with Mysterio's kind of like Edge, and maybe go against this, the Bloodline, and like you said, that go home show. And it kind of like, I don't want Cena and Reigns to touch, so hopefully, they just keep playing it out so that they don't touch. But yeah, like you said, I could see something like that happening. And that was just a friend of mine who's looking at houses in my neighborhood. So it's like, I'd love to talk more, but yeah. Anyway, so that was unexpected, but that's the beauty of live TV, folks.
Yeah.
So speaking of Riddle, him and the Viking Raiders defeated AJ Styles, Omos, and John Morrison. I think we're actually getting the tag team title match next week, is what I saw. Like we've both been saying, I think Viking Raiders just need to take it. We just need to do it and, kind of let AJ and Omos do their own thing. But the Randy Orton stuff, from what I'm reading, they knew he was going to be off for some time, but I guess it's longer than they expected. So I don't know what's going on there, if he just, trying to get stuff sorted out. But, now that like I was saying, I was wondering if the Damian Priest feud might play into that, but now that looks like that's gone away. So, yeah, I think we're just in a holding pattern for Riddle because we don't know where Orton, we don't know what's going on with Orton. But I think you just need to let the Viking Raiders just get those titles because, I think they're in a better place as well from when they first were on Raw. And, AJ and Omos could still do tag team stuff, but I don't know. I think I'm ready for a real tag team to have the titles. And, it's fine to have a feud and whatnot, but, we need more tag teams on Raw, especially like we said with The Miz hurt for the time being. And right now, The Miz, he was on some interview showing like he doesn't have a timetable for his return. Like he wants to, and that's fine. I think he does need to come back. It's like an injury. It's like a basketball player coming back. Like you want to make sure you have your lift. You can't be tentative. Mm-hmm. Like I hate to bring up the Pacers back in the day, but when Victor Oladipo came back, he looked like he was tentative, and you can't be that in wrestling. So I think if The Miz takes 9 months, 10 months, whatever time he needs, because it looks like they'll still put The Miz on TV, obviously. And, as, if he needs to miss a couple weeks for therapy or, whatever, then that's fine. But The Miz is always going to be relevant, no matter what. You could have him cut promos from home, I'm sure, or something like that. I miss the old days of the, the live satellite, like from home. We could go all the way back to Brian Pillman and the Stone Cold stuff when Pillman's got a gun and all that. But anyways, that's a whole nother, or Orton breaking into Cena's house or, Triple H's house, like throwing him through the glass window and all the, Edge and Cena fighting in the hotel room. So, I'm sure we could do stuff, with The Miz if he's, from the mansion of his Hollywood home. But yeah, I'm ready for Viking Raiders to get the titles. I don't know what Riddle's going to do for the time being because it just, like we said, I think he's kind of in a holding pattern right now. So any thoughts on the 6-man match? I really didn't have any thoughts because I just don't really remember it. It just kind of happened. So
I'm kind of over 6-man matches. They just just put these couple feuds together and get kill two birds with one stone. Nothing special about it. So yeah, it is.
Now,
what
did
it
Lucha
is.
Underground have a trios title, or didn't some company try a trios title once?
They did.
Was that Lucha Under? Okay,
They did. Yeah.
would
And
we be in a favor of that, like a trios title, or not?
Yeah, if there's enough teams to justify it.
Yeah,
That's
the only thing I can't. I guess I'd have to think about how many 3-man. Like we got Legado de Fantasma, we got the Bloodline. So I guess if you need enough, but and if you makeshift, 3 singles guys who you think need a title to kind of build them up, that's something as well. But I'd be curious. I would be curious to see. It feels like AEW wants to do that route, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try it first, just because they got so many groups of guys together. Right. So, but I thought Lucha Underground tried that, and people seem to love it because, like you said, you have 3 men together that are working for a unit. So, I mean, New Day would be the perfect,
right?
It would have been the perfect candidates for that. So, but anyways, Jackson Riker defeated Elias in a Symphony of Destruction match. So we can both say this definitively, Greg. Time to move on.
Definitely, and Dave Mustaine better be getting his royalties from them stealing his song title there, because
yes.
well,
both guys laid it out. Like Elias's back was beat to hell. Like, I mean, laid it on that piano top and going through the table and the crashing through the drum set. Like those drum sets ain't, they got, tuning keys like everywhere that can, you touch it the wrong way, you're going to feel a nice little poke. But, we got the cello out, of course, and, the guitar spot. But I thought the piano spots, I just think back to like Tom and Jerry. Like I was waiting for somebody to smash on the fingers and do the old, the finger spot, but we didn't see that. So, but yeah, Jackson Riker needs to move on. I'd actually like to see Cena and Elias go at it just like in a 5-minute thing. I think that'd be a good warm up for Cena. I know we've seen it before, but I'm sure he'll work fine with him. So we also saw Natalya and Tamina defeat Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler. Reginald gets kicked to the curb, which we're like, okay, cool. And Reginald becomes the new 24/7 champion. So he's almost in an elevated spot. He's almost feeling higher than Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler right now, which is crazy for me to think where we were with Reginald just last week or whatever. So how about that, Greg? Thoughts on your new 24/7 champion, Reginald, and doing a Cirque du Soleil as he exited the ring there?
Yeah, the whole thing was pretty funny. The match was the match. It was blah, but the end of it where they finally turned on him was been a long time coming. Me, I wish they'd turn on each other.
They need to
all together, but I guess we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for that. But Shane is convinced that they were unstoppable before he came along, and now they got rid of that dead weight. He goes out and falls into the 24/7 title, and so now we put him in a different position aside from them. So I see the purpose in doing that. If I could have had my way, I would have rewritten it where he wins it off of Tozawa, somersaults his way back up to the top of the ramp, and R2 comes up from behind him and rolls him up to get his baby back. But I guess that's for another show. But it was a smooth transition the way they did that. So I want to see him in an actual match against other men, and not wrestling the ladies all the time. I know he's used their size, so shorter than they are, but which makes sense why he's the only time you see him in the ring, he's with the ladies. But let's see what he can do in the ring with the guys, and give him a little more legitimacy.
I would actually like to see. I know this is going to sound really bad for Shayna, but I want Shayna to knock him out and get the 24/7 title.
Oh God.
I mean, everything would come full circle, but it's not going to happen. But I mean, we had Marie as a 24/7 champion. We had or was it Maurice or something? Summer, whoever, Kelly or somebody like that.
Yeah.
Then we had randomly. So, but like you said, Shayna and Nia, they need to keep losing, and then one of them needs to turn on the other, and let that feud play out. And either one of those women needs to be in the title picture, and the other woman's probably going to go down. But or they split up at the draft, and then one is on SmackDown and one is on Raw. Shayna probably needs to go to SmackDown just to try to revitalize her career. Oh, there you go. Brittany, thank you for the good. Look at this. This is a great quote from Brittany. Can I just side note here? You are the only people who know be excited like this, like me. Yep, we're definitely here for you, Brittany. By the way, Brittany, did your dad show up? Oh, I sat next to the Big Show last night at the bare knuckle fighting. Okay, so it looks like she sat next to the Big Show at
nice.
The bare knuckle fighting championship. Hopefully, I got that all right. So, Brittany, is the Big Show? Is he legit? Like, how big does he look next to you? If she can answer that whenever. And we got to get Brittany's dad in here. She was trying to get her dad involved that 1 week, so hopefully her dad got to see us talk up, wrestling. But Brittany, if you ever want to, we could get you here on a guest. We'd be more than happy, if you want to show up on camera and get in touch with me. My name is here. I'll put my name in the comments. Oh, he's huge. There you go. I'll put my name in the comments, Brittany, if you want to find me on Facebook sometime, and let's work something out. Maybe we could get you on here as a third person and get you the conversation going. So, yeah,
absolutely. So
Brittany,
come on in.
Brittany had a great time. Oh, she shared the picture on her page. Okay, I got to try to look for you on Facebook. Remind me to look for you, and you can find me. So, Brittany, keep the comments going though. Yeah, we're here for you. Every Saturday. Talking
every Saturday.
Every Saturday. I know. I don't know why I said every other Saturday, but how about Humberto Carrillo and Sheamus going at it? And Sheamus wins. We got Damian Priest out there. It's time for Damian to get the title. I think at SummerSlam, you have these two go at it. Damian Priest becomes your new United States champion, and let Damian finally do something a little bit more. It feels like they're like just slowly, like it's like a fish. They're just reeling him along, or they're rowing him along. But it's time to just throw him in the deep end and let him sink or swim, as I always say, or as you like to say too, Greg. So I'm calling for Sheamus to lose to Damian Priest at SummerSlam or in this near future. What do you got? You got Damian Priest taking that title off Sheamus soonish?
SummerSlam sounds about right. We need to get him into program with Sheamus right now, so get back and forth going, get some momentum going, and you give the guy a shot, see what he can do. I think him and Sheamus is a good matchup as far as the quality match we're going to get out of him, and let's see what a run with Priest can do. He's got the look, he's got the skills, but he's been like most of the other newer stars. They spent the last almost 2 years of their life without a crowd and knowing how to play off the crowd, and now is where we can see if this guy has legs, if he can sink or swim. So let's go and see what he can do.
Exactly. So. Maybe Sheamus runs through some of the previous, U.S. title open challenges that he won. There she goes. Awesome. All right. Sounds great, Brittany. I won't say all that online because that's a lot to say. But, yeah, you definitely get back in touch with us, and we'll get in touch with you. So, Bobby Lashley had an open challenge. And who would emerge? Keith freaking Lee. Keith Lee got squashed. I hope that's not the end of it for him. I hope that he can kind of start at the bottom and work his way back up, because the guy, I mean, he's got it. I think he's got everything, and it just got to come together. The way he works in the ring is so different. I mean, him and Kevin Owens, like these two, and you got to think, like, Keith Lee is bigger than Owens. Like, that's the thing. You look at Keith Lee, I mean, his arms are everything.
Yeah.
He obviously could talk, I think, and people want to get behind him because they know they had the WWE Chronicle on him, just talk about his, kind of comeuppance and where he's been. And I think people want to get behind him. So it's like, I don't know what was going on before. Hopefully that's kind of in the past, and he's ready to go physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, whatever other, whichever direction it was going. And then Greg, we got it. The Goldberg coming out, and Goldberg is the next. And I think Lashley needs to kill Goldberg. I think it needs to be shorter than the Kofi match. And then if you have Lesnar show up, almost maybe do like a stare down and maybe build that for Survivor Series or Royal Rumble or something. But we got to get Lashley some contenders, and right now we don't have any. So I'm not fine with Goldberg. I'm just gonna say it right now. He's blocked me on Twitter, so who cares at this point? It is what it is. It just sucks because we can't find those contenders for Lashley. And, I thought maybe you might have had Keith Lee sneak out a win, and then you just do Keith Lee and Lashley at SummerSlam, because we are at Roman and Cena, if that's going to main event. So I think Lashley will be at the beginning, or kind of in the front of the night, just kind of play that up. But, we'll see what Goldberg can do. I mean, he's still signed with WWE for like the next year or so, and he's got like 2 match calls or whatever. So he'll still get his match or 2 with WWE, but I don't know what we can do to get any more, the Kofi thing was probably the best storyline for Lashley so far, other than Drew. We just haven't had, I don't know where we could go with Lashley. So it's going to be something. I mean, I'm happy Keith Lee's back. I hope Keith Lee does, like we said, maybe starts at the bottom and just, picks up wins as we go. But Greg, have at it. Talk me off the ledge of Goldberg and Lashley if you can. I'm as you can see, I am over the ledge. You might need to throw me a rope and reel me in, bring me up, because I'm over the edge of the cliff. I'm already swimming away from it.
Well, I have something that might interest you, but it's going to take a minute to get there. So going back to this whole segment to begin with, I didn't like it in the sense that, you fed Keith Lee to the wolves. Why he's going to be out since January, finally make his return and get squashed. I mean, what was the purpose of that? What would have made more sense would have been to, have him go head to head with Lashley. They have pretty much a stalemate, and Bobby does Bobby, goes and grabs his belt and goes back up the ring, kind of dismisses him, or up the rampway and dismisses him. And, maybe Lee wins by count out, and Lashley is like, okay, I don't have time for this. And he still would have looked as hard as ever, and it would have got Keith Lee over, and instead of, having him lose in his hometown. But we know guys who have matches in their hometown usually don't fare very well. So ironic irony in WWE booking. If you're wrestling in your hometown or on your birthday, you're going to get smashed.
As we see in our next match with Karrion Kross.
Exactly. So they could have done it so many different ways. Keith Lee got a great pop when he came out. And for the couple minutes that it went, I thought it was decent. They just could have done a better job of booking that ending. Like you said, I hope that it's, Jay, okay, I started at the top, now I'm going to work my way up and, get Keith Lee his momentum back, because he is too good, and he is one of those guys who's on the younger side that you can raise up and build up properly and make him a top guy. So hopefully that's where they're going with this. And so transitioning over to Goldberg.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's the Goldberg. He, 2 matches a year. They're going to be 5 minutes. And if Lashley does this match, it will be a crime against humanity. Of all the guys he's run through, to have Goldberg give him his biggest match would be ridiculous. So I will throw out a scenario for you that just from the sense that Goldberg's last matches, he's come out, called out the champ, lost, gone home, counted his money. But at this time, SummerSlam, he actually comes out, gets the surprise win, and as he's celebrating, whose music hits? Big E. Big E comes out and cashes in on Goldberg and transitions the champ over, or you get Goldberg his legitimacy for beating Lashley, and then E goes over huge by beating Goldberg. Despite what we think of Goldberg, that Goldberg is still a big deal.
And I'm letting that stew, because people have shared that, Greg, and I'm letting that stew in my head.
It would be epic. It would be.
And
do you listen to the New Day podcast?
And Big E wants Goldberg, right? Like they've made fun of, like they've talked about.
Goldberg is Big E's hero.
Yeah.
I don't know if you listen to New Day's podcast. I've listened to every episode.
Okay.
Big E loves Goldberg, and those when they do mailbags every now and then, and always comes up. If you could have a match against anybody, who's your dream opponent? And Big E is always Goldberg. Big E's idol is always Goldberg, just from the sense that he's a big guy. He's a former football player. They mirror each other in so many ways. And so he was kind of a template for Big E, coming out of a college football career and going into wrestling. He was kind of what he was looking at. So he's always been an idol of Big E. And so, he has this running joke, big men slapping meat. Two huge guys like Goldberg and Big E, and just knowing how important it would be to him, and Goldberg passing it over to Big E would be epic. And at SummerSlam, and Big E would be bigger than Kofi Mania if it goes down like that.
Yeah.
I think.
Now the counter argument is that how we want Lashley's reign to end?
If he loses reign to Goldberg, people aren't going to. Well, okay, maybe we will, but the casual fan who knew.
I guess
Goldberg,
the casual fan will get behind it. Yes,
right.
That's true.
Right.
I mean, I guess we got to think people not talking about this on a podcast probably is where
Right.
I've seen that stewing around people. Like, I guess I still think Big E is above the random cash in. Is that weird for me to think, or I don't know? But then
you look at it in the sense that he and Lashley have their brutal 5 to 7 minute match, and Lashley finally, or Goldberg finally hits a spear, maybe even gets a jackhammer in on him, and then
if he can lift him up.
Right.
No, sorry.
He rushes
a couple
the ring,
spears.
right? And a big ending, and Goldberg's already blowing his wad with that 7 minutes he had with Lashley, getting beat up by Lashley, and it's easy booking right there. Comes in, big power slam, big ending, 1, 2, 3. And
now if we're going to go that
Goldberg
route,
shine.
What if Big E cash in the middle of the match and then pull the Rollins aspect and make it a triple threat, and then he pins either Goldberg or Lashley, or maybe he pins Lashley if Goldberg, I don't know. That might be too much booking. But I think that would probably kind of hurt Big E because it shows like him putting himself in the match, and I don't think he won because it does feel like Big E is headed to Raw. I think New Day misses. I think New Day needs to be with each other until who knows at this rate. Let's go 10 years. Let's just make it a decade. I think it's already been 7 or 8. So I mean, and first off, who would have thought this thing would have lasted that long from where they started? This thing should have been dead in the water 2 months into it, but it shows how much they believed in themselves and in each other and making it work. So, you know what? I guess, Greg, I'll buy it, which means it's not going to happen. No.
I was just thinking of that crescendo of Goldberg pinning Lashley and the roar of the crowd. And just as it's reaching its speed or pitch, Big E comes running out. And, you thought that was it? We're going from here to here. And the place
or if people are so pissed off, you have Big E cash in, and then they get the people happy. So either way, I guess you could play. Maybe people aren't wanting to see Goldberg beat Lashley. I guess we just have to wait and see kind of how the crowd. Hopefully the Peacock Network won't mess up then. But I guess I can. I'll say I'm rowing towards the shore. I'll row towards the shore and see if maybe a ladder will come down for me. I'll hang it on the beach. Is that too many cliches? No. But anyways, obviously I want Big E to cash in and win. That's all. That's my biggest thing. Right. Like I want to see Big E as champion, and that because like you said, I think he could almost do more, hopefully he won't have to job out to Brock, at the end of his run. That's probably the biggest thing. But yeah. So speaking of jobbed out and a birthday, Karrion Kross was out there. And so Jeff Hardy beats him. Jeff Hardy comes out to no more words. And it was kind of funny because they showed Karrion Kross, and Karrion Kross had a little smile on his face. So you could tell that he was excited to be in the ring with Jeff Hardy and to see Jeff Hardy excited back. My thing is, Karrion Kross, it was a weird debut, obviously. And we've seen NXT people lose to main roster guys. Like I could go all the way back. Charlotte lost to Natalya on a random Raw. And then Charlotte was able to recover, and obviously she became what she is. But the fact that you're champion, now you got to put him back on NXT, the next night or whatever. And apparently they had to reshoot segments with Karrion Kross because people were chanting Matt or Jeff Hardy. Well, duh, because you just had him lose the night before to Jeff Hardy. NXT, there's that crossover. People know what's going on. So, and I don't think Karrion Kross looked ready. Did it feel like he just the entrance isn't there? You could have done the lights with him. I thought you're in this big setting. If you don't want Scarlett with him, okay, but he didn't have any of the aura of what he is in NXT. And it exposed him, because if you don't have that at the start, then how are we supposed to take you serious in the ring? With him, he just got this aura about him. Now, you kind of salvaged it with him saying, well, this isn't it over yet, which I guess is okay. But, I think because, usually I'm okay with guys working double duty. But with him, I think he needs to either be one or the other. Lose the title, bump up, and then he's all in. And I think that's the thing. It's probably tough for him because he's got NXT still, and he's got now you might work this program with Jeff Hardy on the main roster. That's all to ask. Kevin Owens did it okay, and I guess we'll see if Karrion Kross could do it. Or Sasha did it okay with the stuff with Bayley. But not many guys after that or girls have done that, both, double duty as it is, dipping into both brands. So I was not, it kind of sucks because I think I want Karrion Kross to do well on the main roster. I want every NXT person to do well. So it's, but the aura wasn't there, and it just felt like something was lacking. I don't know if it was the Scarlet thing or if it was, but the entrance just wasn't kind of there. So maybe they'll still tweak that out. But Jeff Hardy looked excited to have his song back Now, if we could get Drew McIntyre back with Broken Dreams and Randy Orton with Burn in My Light, I'll be really happy. So, or Sheamus with Lobster Head. So, but yeah,
Jeez.
I think we need a retro Raw. The old Sheamus one. If we get retro Raw and Drew could come out to Broken Dreams just one time, I'll be happy. But so yeah, and we didn't even talk about Drew. He destroyed Ranky or Shanker, whichever one. And that guy, man, I feel bad for that dude because he took so many chair shots. So yes, he did happen, and we'll get to that. It wasn't that important because Drew McIntyre. We're trying to rebuild Drew, obviously. So, but back to Jeff Hardy, Karrion Kross. Your own thoughts, Greg? Because once again, I'm off the shore, and I'm thinking, where the hell are we going with Karrion Kross? Because I don't know. Yeah,
that was brutal. I was surprised that they were going to put him on that night. Thought it was going to be one of the coming attractions like they do with the others. They did with Rhea, they did with Toni Storm. I mean, they gave her a couple weeks that Toni Storm will be here. No, Karrion Kross is going to be here. He's going to be here tonight. And you're right. The whole thing was off. His whole presentation was off. He didn't get his full lights. He didn't get, Scarlett. And maybe that's a whole different ball game. Maybe don't want her up, but she's part of his presentation too. And then the entrance, the match seemed clunky. So was it nerves? Was it just getting it out of the way so he can introduce himself to a Monday night crowd? I don't know, but the whole thing was very off. I get since watching the match and having him lose when he's like the most indomitable force in NXT right now, coming in with the championship is a bad look. It makes NXT look bad. And me loving NXT as much as I do, I hate to see that. I get him losing. Especially with Jeff Hardy taking a little shortcut, put his feet on the ropes for leverage. Mm-hmm. So, if he ever wants to allude to that, he can. And, the little segment after saying, it's not over. You're gonna, okay, I'm going to come in. I'll be doing a program with Jeff Hardy. Okay, cool. But, you could have done the same thing with him smashing Jeff Hardy and, looking as dominant as he is on NXT. I don't know why it is that guys who come up from NXT, they treat them as though they don't know who they are, or
it seems hit or miss. Sometimes they act like we know they are, and then sometimes they don't. Like the Tegan Knox thing, they felt like they didn't. But then with Shotzi, they acted like we did know who she, it's weird how they, like I said, because back in the day, I mean, you brought up Kevin Owens. You said he was the NXT champion on NXT, and you built him up and, Sasha and Bayley and Charlotte and Becky. And, so they've been, but like you said, it's been a lot more, we don't know who this is, but they're on every two. Like, I don't know why WWE just can't decide NXT is our third brand. Make Survivor Series. Like they evolved into one Survivor Series and haven't yet. Or like I brought up, some people talk about Money in the Bank. Like why can't you have 3 from Raw, 3 from SmackDown, and maybe 2 from NXT? And then you could still maybe have a wild card or something like that. Or if you want to do 3, 3, and 3, you have 9 guys in there. I wonder what it's going to take for them just to, if you're already having it on USA, right? The next night after Raw. Now, next week it is going to Sci-Fi, by the way, Greg. I don't know if you saw that. The 2 week, I don't know if it's because of the Olympics. Maybe the Olympics will be on USA, but it's going to be on Sci-Fi Network. So I have to figure out where the hell I can watch Sci-Fi because I don't ever, I don't think I've ever watched Sci-Fi. I didn't watch ECW when it was on Sci-Fi. So I'm obviously not watching Sci-Fi anytime soon. So, but yeah, like you said, I think they just need to, build, like like maybe give it a week or two, and then show some backstage segments with Karrion Kross, or have him cut a promo first. Like, it was weird. He cuts a promo after and says this isn't over, but he's got to go smash Jeff Hardy next match. Like, that might be the only saving grace you have out of this.
Yeah. Because
if you have another match and say Jeff Hardy wins again without his feet on the rope, well, then what do you do then? I think you got to have, and say Karrion, and maybe have Karrion Kross say, I'm above Jeff Hardy, but they won't do that, because it probably does make sense. So, anything else on that aspect of Karrion Kross and Jeff Hardy?
Yeah. I don't think they're acknowledging, they're definitely downplaying NXT, not acknowledging, how good he is down there. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of not acknowledging the fans. I mean, do you think the people who watch Raw don't watch NXT? I mean, we're going to be tuned in the next night to see what he does with Joe. We know who Kross is. We know how good he is. And, you treat him like, he doesn't exist outside of the Raw bubble, aside from, carrying the NXT title. So, in a way, it's kind of a slap in the face to us as fans, the way that they treated this whole angle, treating him like he's so new and, not giving him the moment he deserves as the NXT champion coming up. They're not acknowledging how great NXT is as the third brand and taking us for granted as fans, acting like as if, you're either main roster or you're NXT. You can't be both, where I'd say probably 80-90% of us are all three. So it's kind of, disrespecting us as well.
And I guess I get, like, if you don't have storyline crossover, that's, I guess I get it. If you want those storylines to stay on NXT, but that's going to be a lot to ask, Karrion Kross. Okay, you got to go work this angle with Jeff Hardy on Monday. Then you got to go back Tuesday night and work this angle. Like, that seems like a lot to ask of a guy. And I guess we'll see if he could do it or not. But yeah. Well, we reached the end of the night. And we didn't even bring this up from Money in the Bank, but Charlotte Flair won. They said 11 time, and I thought I've seen 14 time. I've seen 13, whatever. It's a lot. She's probably going to break her dad's record, and at some point. And so she beat Rhea Ripley the night before. And then Rhea Ripley defeats her by DQ. The big thing is Nikki Ash comes out, cashes in, and I thought maybe they might have Nikki lose just because I just didn't think they'd go all in on it, but now this shows they are all in on Nikki Ash. And now people joke, they're like, well, is she still almost superhero? Like, is she now super? But anyway, it is what it is. So, but Nikki Cross is our new Raw Women's Champion. I did not see that coming. I don't think I would have predicted it this year, at least. Maybe next, but so what a turnaround for Nikki. And you know what? She's even got her body better looking. I mean, I hate, saying that because it sounds probably prejudiced, sexist type, but I think she does look like mentally in a better place. It looks like, everything's clicking. And like we said, I could see little girls, maybe even boys coming out with, the superhero mask and the capes, pretty soon. I mean, who knows? Even dudes our age might do it, because people, we had Bailey dudes doing it, the fringe, and I showed off my headbands of 1 week, so you never know. But it now does feel like, okay, we're just going to go in on it, and wherever it goes, it goes. So congrats to Nikki, though, because you talk about working your butt off. I mean, she never won a title in NXT, and she did all those matches down there. I personally never thought she'd win. I didn't think she'd win tag team title ever, and then she did that with Alexa, and now she's, added this. So really happy for her. I mean, all the superstars like tweeting at her. I mean, I'm sure her phone was blowing up probably there for hours. Sure. So, and her family, maybe in Wales or wherever she's from was probably watching in the middle of the night, but happy for her. Glad to see it. And we'll just kind of roll with it. So, Greg, your own thoughts on Nikki Ash as our new Raw Women's Champion?
Yeah, and it's kind of what I thought was happening with her being in the Money in the Bank match and her doing the whole superhero gimmick is they're going to go all or nothing with it, and the way they built her up, and the screen time she got, time to explain it on live on Raw and on um, the Talking Raw, I forgot what they call it, the little
Raw
studio
Talk.
show they do,
Yeah.
Raw Talk, yeah. They gave her a lot of time with it, and it's just so out there, and I figured they're going to go all or nothing with it. And sure enough, as soon as she picked up the briefcase, I'm like, she's going to get it. That being said, it's one thing to think it in theory, and another thing to see it actually happen. And so I think the reason that they alluded to it at the beginning of the night instead of, in the middle, just to give you time to forget about it, not think about the fact of, that she's the briefcase holder, because she got all these big entrances, all these turns, all this stuff happening, and it's the last thing you're going to be expecting. And now you got a title match with Charlotte and Rhea, and it's the perfect capper to the night with a Money in the Bank cash in to go on the top. It's a cherry on the top of all the other stuff that just happened. So yeah, props to Nikki. I still took my 40 out for Sanity Nikki, who was my favorite incarnation so far. But like you said, she's worked her tail off, and I've seen her have great matches, especially down in NXT. And it just shows what you do. You persevere. You add your own wrinkles to your character, because they're
This
not
is
going
all
to do
her.
it for you. Right. You're responsible for your character, and if you say I want to be a superhero, then you better bring it. You better show you what you can do, otherwise you're going to get booed out of the building. And she went all in on it, and at Money in the Bank, I was listening to see what kind of reaction she was going to get when she came out that first time, and I think we got crickets when she came out for the Money in the Bank match. But when she went up there and pulled the briefcase down, the place popped, popped
Go
big.
figure.
So I was, at the same time, I was kind of discounting. It's like whoever picked up the briefcase was going to get a pop. So I was still kind of sitting on the fence with her as far as what is the crowd really think. But when she cashed in and won, and the place just kind of jumped out of their seats, well, there's your validation right there.
That's Vince all needed to hear.
Yeah, and now she's going to hijinks her way into months of holding the title and getting the superhero gimmick over. So props to Nikki, and keep doing what you're doing. It's still growing on me. I'll say that it's still growing on me. It's not there yet, but I'll be an interested observer to see what happens next.
If they sell the mask, maybe I'll buy you one. So SummerSlam, I'm guessing Nikki, Charlotte, and Rhea for the title. Or do we maybe think Asuka could sneak in there? But it feels like the triple threat is more where they go for SummerSlam. Do you think that's where we're going for SummerSlam?
No, I'm still staying on the train of the ultimate battle of good and evil with Nikki and Alexa.
Okay.
Yeah. The two at the top of the pecking order for the Money in the Bank match. And we saw they had to bury Alexa on their pile of ladders to get her out of the match. And still playing on this superhero gimmick. Every superhero needs a great villain, and there's not a better villain right now than Alexa and what she can do. I think Charlotte and Rhea are going to still be stuck on each other, and it's a great moment for Alexa to come in and give us something different. and having superhero Nikki and evil incarnate Alexa would be a great match for
because I did
SummerSlam.
When we did bypass it, but we did have the little segment for Alexa's Playground between Carmella and Alexa. So I was wondering if that might be a direction they go. We still have Dewdrop kind of, tagging along with Carmella, but we can see that, we keep saying you probably need to pull that trigger sooner rather than later, but maybe Carmella has Dewdrop go at Alexa to kind of give her the win for Eva Marie. So, that's something I guess you could play out on Raw, but I do wonder if that might be a direction for Alexa right now. And then maybe the next pay-per-view, Alexa goes there. But I did find it funny that they buried Alexa because, that's usually one of the bigger people. You do that to the Big Show. You do that
right
to, Brock. You don't do it to the smallest woman in the match, even though I guess Selena's smaller than her. And then I love that Nikki just climbed right up and grabbed it out. Everybody's fighting on the ladders. We didn't even mention that. Usually everybody fights together, but Nikki was like, I'm just going to get the briefcase. That was kind of a cool way because usually we would think, oh, she's going to hit somebody or tip over the ladders, but she just hopped right up and took the briefcase. So, well, we have been we just ran an hour just to do Raw. So we're going to do a quick commercial break so we can catch our breath and get ready to talk up NXT and AEW and get into those, Tuesday night and Wednesday nights. So here's a quick commercial break for Elite Performance. If you want to get Elite, you need to go get in touch with Elite Performance. All right, and we are back, ready to rock and roll and talk up some NXT, which, like we brought up, Karrion Kross, Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was out there talking up that he wants Karrion Kross right now. You had William Regal come out there and say, this is what I expected. You're only supposed to do it if you're provoked. Well, he's provoked. And then at the end of the night, we saw Karrion Kross and a taken out William Regal. Was it Karrion Kross? Was it somebody else? It's probably Karrion Kross. My question is, Greg, so we did see also, I don't know if you saw, but NXT TakeOver will be the Sunday after SummerSlam. So that's kind of cool to kind of get SummerSlam on the Saturday night. And then, NXT will kind of get their own night. Is that when we see Karrion Kross and Samoa Joe go at it?
I think so. It's a bad way to start because, the week before Joe gets attacked and put to sleep, and William Regal's going, okay, I said only if you're provoked. Well, what else can you?
He's provoked.
How else do you define provoked? So that opening segment was kind of nonsensical. Of course, Joe's going to come out and he's going to be breathing fire. So, that's what we like. Joe breathing fire and cutting a promo is money. So I definitely think it's going to lead to, that's going to be the main event of the TakeOver. And at this point, it's probably going to be for the title because he's going to be, stomping mad. And, who else is in line as being like the next contender. And I think this is where Joe gets the enforcer tag taken off of him, and it's like, if you're going to have this match, then you can't be my enforcer. You're going to have to become, just a talent again, and I'm going to have to find another heavy. And Joe's going to sign off on that pretty easily. So it's going to be a good way to take the title off Cross. You send him to Raw, and rebuild Joe at the same time. back to, the monster he used to be when he came through NXT the first time. And, that sets up some great matches with the guys who are down there, because there's nobody appealing for Cross anymore outside of Joe. He's already faced all the top guys at the last pay-per-view in that 5-way. So everything they're going to do right now is, kind of a rehash. So, sign me up, but I definitely think that's going to be the main event.
I mean, that makes the most sense. And like we said, I think what will the title play into it, because you feel like you got to get it off Cross, because it probably feels like after SummerSlam, he should just be on the main roster. I don't think you'll have him doing back and forth stuff. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see how they go with that route. Diamond Mine took an L to Kushida and Bobby Fish. I still feel like Diamond Mine will get the best of Kushida. Like, I could see Roderick Strong getting that cruiserweight title off of Kushida and let Diamond Mine kind of run with things. Maybe you have Tyler Rust and Roderick Strong with the tag team titles, but it feels like this is just kind of a win for Kushida and Bobby Fish. In the short term, it doesn't feel like anything long term. Good match, though. I thought, everybody looked really well. I thought Bobby Fish looked up pretty strong in the ring. Kushida locking in that, the lock thing. I forget what they call it.
The hoverboard lock.
Yes, hoverboard lock. Thank you. I was like, what Back to the Future term did they use for it? Because I always forget. Tyler Rust typing it right out. So good stuff there. Anything to add on, Greg, for that match?
No, it's a good match, but yeah, I agree that you need to let Diamond Mine, establish themselves and get some wins, a little back and forth, get some, more established guys or somebody who's right on their level makes sense. And, a returning Bobby Fish makes sense. And, more TV time, let us get more familiar with him. And, I'm still waiting to see what the Hideki character can do. He looks like he can go. So, but I haven't seen anything. So, give him more time, and they need all the star power they can get right now with guys moving and things like that. So,
even if that Hideki guy does anything, because in the promo Malcolm Bivens cut, he's like, "Well, we got the best coach here." So I don't know if maybe they'll just use him as a coach type aspect. I don't know. What I read is he's like 33, 34. So maybe he just thinks his time in the ring is maybe he's done it. I don't, it's kind of weird. Like you said, I wonder to see what he'll do if he does anything. So, because if that's not the case, if he doesn't do anything, I feel like you need somebody else. Still, I don't know. It felt like you need, if you're a mine, it feels like you could do a couple more players. So, Frankie Monet defeated JC Jane. The big story there was Mandy Rose was out there and on the commentary booth, laying across. I was glad I was not on the commentary booth because that would have been a little bit distracting because she's quite the looker. But then there was a backstage segment with Frankie Monet, Jessie, Kamei, or Jessie, whatever her name is, and Robert Stone. And then Casey and Caden came out there saying, "Hey, you girls got to earn your tag team status and all this." So looks like a little tag team feud there. I thought Frankie Monet really looked well in this match, yelling out in Spanish, "Loca," a couple times. But then it's funny because then she does the backstage and she's all Valley Girl. So it's like, it's kind of an interesting dynamic there. But, and then, of course, Robert Stone at the very end of the segment just like, oh, yeah. And it's like, he's going to, like we said, he's going to be the lapdog. And, he'll probably eventually get the boot. And, I don't know what they'll do with him after that. But, maybe he could go to the main roster and be a manager for somebody. Maybe somebody that needs that, kind of let him see what he could do on the main roster. But nothing really much there. I do want to get into, Greg, Kyle O'Reilly defeated Austin Theory, because this was probably the best Austin Theory's looked in the match in a while. True. I really thought. And then the big story was, so there was a backstage segment with The Way, And Indy Hartwell say, well, if Austin Theory wants to kiss Dexter Loomis, let him. And so they start arguing. The three of them, Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano, and Indy Hartwell, and Austin Theory sneaks out. Like, doesn't sneak. He just leaves. And what's funny is we've seen that Austin Theory's been working dark matches. So what if they play up like if Austin Theory gets called up and they're still searching for him down there in NXT? So interesting kind of dynamic there. But I thought Austin Theory really, really looked well, and had no Johnny Gargano out there, no Candice LeRae out there, no Indy Hartwell out there. So really good stuff. Kyle O'Reilly, of course, picks up the win. We're still going to see him in Adam Cole 3 at TakeOver. And that's, they'll probably play it up as co-main event just so they could give that title.
Yeah.
I hate co-main event because, let's face it, the last match is the main event. You could have everything say co. It doesn't matter. Whatever's last is the main event. But, that's semantics, is it? So a lot of stuff to unpack there. If you want to catch up on Frankie Monet, I know you love that gal. You can, Greg. I felt like I recapped it enough. I don't think we saw anything groundbreaking there. But if you want to bring up, talk about Kyle O'Reilly and Austin Theory, and Austin Theory kind of, just leaving his family because they're not giving him the love. They're not giving him the attention. So I'll be curious to see where that goes.
Yeah, it's true. He's been the missing character in a lot of these way sketches lately, and maybe this is why I hadn't heard anything about him doing dark matches. But he's one of those guys. They need that kind of talent up on the main roster. Plus, he's a young, fresh face, and we had a cup of coffee on the main roster maybe a year or so ago before the pandemic, and he went right back down. So he's still going to be, brand spanking new pretty much to the audiences right now, and it's a good time to recreate him and the way he presents himself. Maybe be, a smarter babyface this time, and not so much of a goofball as he is on the NXT. But the guy can go. The match was fantastic. Didn't expect much when that match started, but they had me on the edge of my seat as that match went on, and that was hands down the best match of the night. So I'm still looking forward to what the guy can do, because when he gets time to perform in the ring, he's really good. The way segments, I'm still figuring out what they're doing with them. They're going to splinter them off. Looks like Indy's going to get her man eventually. And, that's making her baby face. Johnny's already going into being Johnny Wrestling, and he's turning baby. The only one that seems to be dragging is Candice, and she seems to kind of want to keep them factioned and doing the way kind of more of a sinister on the sinister side of things. But eventually they're all going to end up turning in that direction. So it's happening. We just get to see it happen a little bit more out loud than usual, where it's more subtle, or it takes one drastic action for them to go from one side to the other. They're slow burning the face turn this time. So it's interesting to see it unfold, because usually you don't. And so I'm liking it. Plus, love my girl Taya, or Frankie. I got to get used to calling her Frankie now. But I look forward to the whole what Mandy Rose got to do with it. Is she trying to be her rival, or is she trying to join forces? So, sitting there laying across the the podium, that's like the luckiest podium in the world.
What if they said Wade Bear was trying to pass his phone so he could get her phone number?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, I've seen Mandy Rose at an NXT show, and holy cow, she is that gorgeous. I did find it funny. She went from the week before having hair above her, just below her ears, to hair down her back the next week.
yeah.
I did notice that. So those
extensions are working. Power of extensions.
So
we can see, and sometimes on the women you could see it. Like on Charlotte, there was a couple times, man, she was getting thrown around with. I'm like, you could see where they put it. I'm like,
yeah,
you may want to protect the weave a little bit better than that, girl. So, yeah, I guess the better story is Mandy Rose to join up with her, but then you almost have the Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose thing all over. Two busty blondes hooking up, type deal. But
yeah,
I mean, it just seems
she's trying to steal her spotlight. Is how it looks to me.
Could be
she's trying to steal Frankie's spotlight, and that's going to lead to
Frankie will get tired of it. Yeah, that's true. Maybe Robert Stone just turns on him and tries to join up with Mandy Rose then. But I feel like I could see Robert Stone just getting the butt end of all of it, and like I said, maybe just him going to the main roster and hooking up with like a manager for some. I don't know who needs him, but I'm sure they can find somebody. So Hit Row and Legado de Fantasma had a segment. Not much. I'm just going to kind of bypass it because it was just a segment. I was hoping for the mariachi. I do love me some good mariachi music, though. Legado had to tease me with it, and they don't even do it. I'm sure it would have been better than that cipher of Hit Row that happened. The Great American Bash. Odyssey Jones got a win, looking really good in the ring, and big guy, and just big old hoss. So we'll see what he does. How about Drake Maverick defeating LA Knight? Of course, Cameron Grimes gets involved and, causes loss. So either we're going to see LA Knight get sick of Cameron Grimes, or we do see, Cameron Grimes get his freedom. I still think the better story is him getting his freedom, at TakeOver. But, you could just see LA Knight fire him, as well. And, that just breaks them off and let Cameron Grimes do whatever's next for him and let LA Knight do whatever's next for him. So, Greg, how about the I know I kind of bypassed this stuff, but if you want to catch up on that, that's fine. But what about Drake Maverick and LA Knight, match there, and no Killian Dane anymore for Drake Maverick. So he's going to have to find his way, on his own. I know he can do it because, like, I'm sure. Did you watch his Impact Days with Rockstar Spud?
Oh yeah,
EC3. So obviously he can do it. So this is probably make or break time for him.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, that's what I thought of, because I talked last week about how with this whole gimmick coming around with the Butler angle, that they both were in Impact at the same time as Eli Drake and Trevor Lee, and they crossed paths a few times. But during that same time, Drake Maverick was there as Rockstar Spud, and the fact that he's bringing him back into this storyline is no accident, because I'm thinking that they all work well together, they all know each other, and this is a way for Cameron Grimes to get his freedom one way or the other, either. Because I never heard them say how long he had to be the Butler for.
Of course.
Usually it's pretty pronounced, 30 days.
30 days
or whatever. Yeah. That's usually the standard, but they never said that, and I was listening for that. And I'm liking they added the wrinkle of, he's enjoying being the Butler, or is not being as downtrodden as the guy usually is when he has to be the Butler, and he's mopey and, moving slow and everything, and just making us feel sorry for him because he's getting browbeaten by the heel, and he's just playing it up and he's loving it, and I'm going to be the best Butler ever, and that's something we haven't seen before. And like I said, we just saw Butler angle in AEW with Chuck Taylor, and he was the mopey guy. So now we're seeing the opposite. He's enjoying it. He's putting his own spin on it, and there's no talk of, 3 more weeks and I'm out of here, or whatever it is. And now with Drake coming in there, and sticking up for him, you can kind of see it coming into effect that he's going to end up either fighting for him or negotiating a way for Cameron Grimes to get his freedom or just get fired, like you said. But they're going to do it a different way, and I think at TakeOver, either LA Knight and Drake Maverick are end up having a match with that
the freedom on the line.
Freedom on the line, right, is where I think it's going to end up going, because maybe the other thing is that LA Knight can't have enough butlers, so if you lose your butler too.
Maybe yeah. Or if Drake Maverick wins, maybe Drake Maverick wants to win the $1 million title. He can finally consummate his marriage, and he has a new baby. So we bring back Renee and all that. But yeah, so and finally we had Raquel Gonzalez defeat Xia Li in a women's match. Solid match. I thought, did Xia Li get a little bit of her shine taken off of her because of this loss?
Yeah. I didn't see the point in doing it right now. With the TNShaw faction being so new, they spent all the time with, the packages and her getting beat up for so long, and, turning her lump of coal into a diamond, that they could have spent a longer time having her stat wins and become, the next legit opponent, instead of having a couple matches with Mercedes Martinez and maybe one other girl, and then jump right into a title shot. So yeah, it definitely took some for shine off. What's going to do with the TNShaw faction now, because it looks like there's anybody for them to fight. Mercedes Martinez has disappeared. They're not going to fight Raquel.
And who does Raquel fight at TakeOver?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Because if you don't want Dakota to turn now, because I think that'd be way too, that would only give you a couple weeks of buildup. Like that Dakota turn probably needs to happen at TakeOver. I guess, even if you do it in the CWC, you'll still have a packed house there. I still think it will play off. But I don't know who, because we have Io Shirai involved with the NXT women's title, tag team titles, which we didn't even see them on NXT. So, that kind of shows everything there. Maybe Candice LeRae just to throw somebody out there. Maybe Indy Hartwell to throw, it's like, who's, now that you've done Xia Li, like, do you put Xia Li back out there against her at TakeOver when she just lost? Probably not. So it's like, who else do you throw out there? Do you give Frankie Monet maybe a quick title, shot against her, just to kind of, I think Frankie Monet could probably eat the loss and be okay. So maybe you do that. But I'll be curious to see who they throw at Raquel, because right now there's nobody. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. But I do think I think the Dakota Kai turn needs to happen sooner rather than later at this point. We need to see more seeds of it planted. But, maybe you see the seeds planted at TakeOver, and then, maybe you just want to do it at an NXT show just to kind of give that feel for it. But do you have any thoughts, Greg, on who you think you'd like to who could go at Raquel next?
No, Dakota makes the most sense. And we said TakeOver is going to be the night after SummerSlam, right? So yeah, that's about a month from now. Mm-hmm. They can go ahead and turn right now with Dakota, during a backstage segment, who's next? I am, and then whack right across the face. And now you have 3 more weeks
to build that up.
Right. And you had that match you knew was coming, and this is the big stage to do it on. So I'll be watching TakeOver NXT to see if that happens, because it would be the perfect time to do it right now, because like I said, there's nobody else to do it. Only other thing that I would sign off on wholeheartedly is my hot Asian girlfriend going back down and taking her old title.
Oh, Asuka.
Yeah, because if anybody could use a reboot, it would be her. And I would love her to see her be the surprise challenger for Raquel.
Could Asuka go down there and lose?
No.
No.
Okay. NXT Asuka never lost.
That's
Remember,
true. Well,
she left undefeated. She come back.
Well, would that build up Raquel even more?
It could.
Because that's the thing. Like, what if you did the one-off? Like, if you just did a one-off for Asuka, like saying, "I want to go back down there and win the title. I never lost." But then if Raquel beats her, that really, I don't know. I guess it just depends on how in you'd want to go on Raquel. Like, if you had Raquel be the one to beat NXT style Asuka, like, that's saying a lot that you believe in Raquel. So that's because I don't see Asuka going down there for good. But then again, we didn't think Finn Balor would go back down there for a while. So I guess, but like you said, then again, if Asuka's down there for good, she probably needs to beat Raquel. But if it's a one-off, kind of like Sasha and Io Shirai went at it at Great American Bash, and Io, beat Sasha, and nobody really looked down upon Sasha for it. So, yeah, like you said, Asuka could use the shine down there, and she wasn't on TV this week, so maybe she's trying to work in the weeds to get down there for a one-off or whatever it is. So.
It'd be good for a 6-month run, the way Finn Balor had.
Yeah, that could probably, and then maybe at Rumble time, show back up on Raw or SmackDown, and somehow, or maybe go to SmackDown. You've done the Raw thing for all this time. Maybe go to SmackDown and see what you could do there. So, let's also talk up Fyter Fest. This is night 2. We had the first match, which was Chris Jericho defeating Sean Spears, which, doesn't really surprise us. We did play up that Sean Spears could use a chair, and he did. And I think, Greg, the bigger story was the aftermath. So we had MJF come out and say, well, next match is going to be a no DQ. And I was like, well, it's probably going to be Wardlow. And he brought out Nick Gage, who I don't know anything about other than looking at Twitter, and people talk up this guy. It's like he's almost like New Jack. He puts his body through anything. And I know he's got a big match against Matt Cardona, which is going to be a big way to see what Matt Cardona does now in that type of, environment. This Nick Gage guy does light bulbs, thumbtacks, staple guns, like everything. So we'll see.
All the backyard wrestling stuff.
Exactly. So now we'll have Jericho bring back the Painmaker, which was kind of cool, that little segment he did backstage, and he had the makeup ready to go. So, Greg, I don't know if you know anything about Nick Gage, but that seemed like that's pretty big. Like, this is a guy that, like I said, has been roughing it on the independents for years and years, and now, even if it's a one-off, he gets a one night to show himself and, see if AEW wants to sign him for good, or maybe he doesn't want to, sign for anybody. Maybe he just wants to just say, I did it. And then he goes back and keeps going for, I think it's GCW, Global Collective Wrestling is the big one, or whatever independent stuff he does. So I thought the match with, Sean Spears was fine. And, I just can't buy Sean Spears for whatever reason. So, even with the chair stuff, I don't know. Something isn't always there for me with him. So, but Greg, have it. Your own thoughts on Jericho and where he's headed next.
Yeah, the match was okay. It was, set the table for the next match pretty much. We knew what we were getting with the stipulations, and we know Jericho's going to win. He's going to lose the first match. And I'm with you. He will always be Ty Dillinger to me. I remember I used to have the 10 music as my ringtone.
That was a good song.
Yeah, I love that song. So I'm excited for this next match because I'm an old school guy. I love color in a match. And, in a match like this where it's going to be, no rules against a guy who's a legendary, like, backyard wrestler, death match type of dude that people are going to be bleeding in buckets. I'm like you. I didn't know who this guy was. I do listen to the Talk is Jericho podcast. Um, when I'm driving, I drive a lot. So between the New Days podcast and Jericho's, there's plenty of content. I did hear him doing an interview with Jericho. He just did a show about the legends of the death match.
Okay.
And he would talk to a handful of guys, and they all mentioned Nick Gage. I want to say Cage, but no, it's Gage.
Yeah, we got Cage, Page, Rage, Jade. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, and
we need a battle of the age. Battle for the ages. Man,
God,
just get me off the air right there. No, we're going to give you the longest episode of Super Kickin' with Steven, and that's going to be the highlight right there.
But yeah, I'm tempted to go and watch some of these old matches just to see who this guy is. I know in the couple minutes after them introducing Gage, that Excalibur almost lost his mind talking about how the guy literally died in a match for 8 minutes, and they had to be resuscitated, and then he wanted to go back and finish the match. And they really put this guy over big about how big of a legend he is in the deathmatch arena and the whole backyard wrestling kind of environment. And, him being the most violent man in all of wrestling, that kind of thing. So it makes me excited because, I will be there in the building to watch it.
You will be.
In person.
That's true. You're going to see the blood.
Yeah. And from
sorry, go ahead.
From the seat I bought, I should be pretty close to the action. So
awesome. I was going to say real quick. Now, does this set up the stage though? Do we need more outside guys for this Labors of Jericho, or do you think will we go back to the well of the Pinnacle? Because now it feels like now the bar's been set. Like now it almost feels like we want guys from the outside to kind of take out Jericho. But, do you recycle the Pinnacle guys to do this? So that's interesting aspect to this. Do you think we see kind of or it's probably going to be maybe a mix. Maybe we'll get, Pinnacle guy, outside guy, Pinnacle guy, outside guy. And then, maybe it's all the Pinnacle guys against Jericho because it feels like you have to do something like that. Probably like a gauntlet match or something like that. So do you think we see any more outside guys brought in for Jericho, Greg?
I think there could be. We see there's 5 labors, right? So this is going to be number 2. And just process of elimination, you can't put FTR in there. They're busy. He's not going to put himself in there. And then you got Wardlow. So maybe Wardlow being the heavy is going to be the 5th labor. So you still have labor 3 and 4 to go once he beats, assuming he beats Gage. And it would make sense to have, a couple more outside guys come in, especially if this match goes over as well as I'm hoping it does.
That's probably the biggest thing. I wonder if they'll see what the reaction is and then kind of decide, okay, maybe there's or if MJF has some guys out there that he's wanted to bring in and kind of see, or if, Matt, the Young Bucks or whoever, Kenny Omega. And I wonder if the Wardlow match, I wonder if they'll go back to the well of the Steel Cage, because that's kind of where, him and Cody Rhodes put on that really fantastic match. That was kind of the start of Wardlow kind of getting some rub. or do you revisit the MMA fight ring? Wardlow's thinking, I could take out Jericho, even though I couldn't take out, Hager. Maybe I could take out Jericho in there, but I feel like Wardlow's the next step after this. And then, we kind of get something different. And like you said, FTR is busy, but then again, FTR could double dip and do some gauntlet match or something, or, maybe some handicap match. So they don't have to do as much. And maybe you have Proud and Powerful out there to take out FTR to kind of, give Jericho the edge. So I think you could cross over a little bit, but like I said, I'll be curious to see outside versus inside guys. So we also had Duck Gallows defeat Frankie Kazarian. Does that kind of rub the shine off the Elite Hunter? I mean, he's already failed, it seems like, because he just lost to Gallows. So, how's he going to take out the Elite? Unless he comes in to maybe help in that big 10-man match and, takes out a couple guys for Hangman Page and the Dark Order to win. But it does feel like weird that he's already kind of lost the first match, as he's trying to go after these guys. Do you think I'm correct in that thinking, Greg, or are you going a different direction with that?
No, not exactly, just because of all the shenanigans that have to take place for him to get the win. Plus, he's best when he can pop out of the shadows and take somebody out, ninja style.
Yeah.
And, he's been effective at doing that for like the last, couple months. So in his first match, he ends up, losing, one-on-one, but, not without
can win the war
some
type
trickery
battle.
happen. Yeah. So it's just the first in a long line of battles that ended up culminating in something big for him at the end, I think.
Some other things we had, Ricky Starks kind of talk up him winning the title. We also had Hangman Page, the Dark Order, kind of talk up their match, which you'll get to see in person. So I'm going to assume that's going to be the main event. I really think that'll be a fun match to watch, and I'm excited for you, Greg, to get to see that. So you'll have to share your ringside seat or wherever you're at, and kind of your thoughts on that as we go next week. So not much to say there. Darby Allin defeated Wheeler Yuta. And we also had the little fun segment with Sting and Sting and Orange Cassidy. Nothing beat when Sting hit the kick, and he was just like, I was waiting for him just to make me go, woo, that type of deal. So
right.
I'm all in on a Sting and Orange Cassidy match. I mean, it'd be fun and whatnot. So any thoughts on the Darby Allin and Yuta match, Greg?
No, it was all about the Sting and Orange Cassidy moment there.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing them outside, I was like, I know it's going to happen. It's coming. And sure enough, they gave it to me. Like Excalibur says, got to give the people what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't expect Sting to do it. I thought Orange Cassidy was going to stand there and antagonize Sting. And while the audience is popping in the background. So when Sting does it, like, what? And it was glorious. And it would be definitely the most interesting match. I still can't see it. Just seeing how, they're both so baby-faced and,
that's true.
Whose side did they take? I thought this matchup was odd enough from the beginning for matching up Darby against a member of the Best Friends, or at least a protege of the Best Friends. What's the purpose of that whole booking? But I guess we'll find out if it ends up being anything or not. But the whole match was kind of, kind of a why. But
yeah,
it was still a decent match. But I don't see what the purpose of it was.
And of course, Orange
aside
Cassidy
from getting Sting and Orange Cassidy to do the low leg kicks.
And we also did have Orange Cassidy get taken out with the brass knucks, by the Blade, and that looks like that's going to be a thing for them. We also saw Nyla Rose and Britt Baker go at it. Britt Baker wins by submission with the lockjaw. I don't know who's next for Britt Baker. I mean, that's a pretty big, that's a pretty good start for defending her title, but it's like, where do you go next? I love the little Eddie Guerrero segment where Britt threw the title at Nyla, and then Nyla throws the title at Britt. So when the referee was all, distracted, you had Vicky out there, you had Rebel out there. It looks like Rebel's on the shelf for some time. That looks like a pretty legit injury she's had. And I thought she just had an injury at some point early on with Britt Baker on the same knee. So that can't be a good thing. But Greg, who do you think is next for Britt Baker? Because I honestly am racking my brain. I don't know where do we go? Because, there's not many women that can match up with her right now.
Yeah, and I did enjoy that match. It was a great match with her and Nyla. And for a second there, I thought that Nyla was going to get the belt back when they were doing the Eddie Guerrero moment, and Nyla threw it back and went down. It's like when you get in a fight in school and you never see who throws the first punch. You see who does the second, and that's the person who gets in trouble.
As a teacher, Greg, you don't know how many freaking times and I just always tell both of them, you can't hit back. Like I know it's the cheapest, dumbest answer, especially when kids say, and this is what they always tell me, Greg. Well, my mom said I could, and I'm like, and I go always have to think,
here.
Whatever happens at home, if they want you to use the N-word, if they want you to cuss up a storm, throw the middle finger, hit people at home, have at it. Have a party with that. We have school rules. But anyways, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
I should do a podcast about teaching because, man, I would have some stories for you there.
Oh, I'm sure. But who's next?
Goldberg.
Goldberg. Let it get the lockjaw on Goldberg. I love that.
Santina.
I think this is a moment where either we get another TNA crossover, like Deonna Purrazzo. I didn't watch Slammiversary or whatever the pay-per-view was that just had last weekend, I think.
And Deonna beat whoever she beat, but then Mickie James came out.
Mickie James.
So it looks like Deonna Purrazzo and Mickie James. But like you said, I think the people want Deonna and Britt, and they're friends outside the ring. So that's, and I mean, if you want, I think you save it for All Out. Because like we said, we haven't seen a lot of crossover other than, the Elite and Impact Wrestling. And then we did have Jay White show up from New Japan. And we've had some New Japan, like we saw the son of Haku in the ring, and now he's going to get the next title shot for the IWGP US title. But yeah, I think, Greg, I'm with you. Give me Deonna, give me Britt, at All Out. Even if you don't have it title for title, you just do champion versus champion. So then both women keep their titles, but you just have one woman have the bragging rights. Because right now, I mean, Penelope Ford, Chris Statlander. I mean, I get, it does feel like we are slowly building up Chris. Yeah. But would the crowd be too split on that? Would we? And I guess that's okay. It's not a bad thing. But at the same time, the best feuds are the ones where we know who is who. But then again, the crowd could be split on Deonna because you could have, some crossover from Impact fans saying, oh, well, we want our champion. And then you have the AEW fans and, there's probably a crossover watching there. So, I mean, I could see
Thunder Rosa try another run at it.
Because she is officially All Elite now. I don't know if you saw, she signed on the dotted line. And, there's a Thunder Rosa is All Elite. So, could she kind of build her way back up? But so I guess there's women out there. We just got to kind of wait and see because right now it's hard telling.
Yeah, and there's one more names just because The only reason I brought it up is because they're on the same side of the fence, but I think it's inevitable that Britt becomes a babyface. She already gets one of the loudest pops of the night, but she's still playing a heel. But Jade Gargill is still waiting in the wings. And, nobody's been any competition for her either. But
would she have to beat Britt, though, right off the bat? Because it feels like the way they built her up, her first title match should probably – and with Britt, I mean, I guess Britt got the title at Double or Nothing. So that's a 6-month reign. I mean, I think Britt would still be over, but it feels like with Jade, her first title match, she probably should win it, just because the way they built her up. And I mean, but that is a name, Greg, because we haven't seen her. She's only had 4 matches? I think it's like 4 matches, maybe. Yeah. I know she's undefeated because she won the match with Shaq, and then I thought she beat Red Velvet one other time. And then possibly 2 other matches. So, does Brandy Rhodes get the itch? Because now that she's had her baby, there's a name, I guess. But it feels like Deonna and Britt for All Out. If you want to just throw everything at the woodwork, that probably should be it. And then maybe Chris Statlander at Full Gear, because that would be in November. So you still got, you build up Chris Statlander. Maybe she does stuff with the bunny at All Out just to kind of, build her up. So there's a name too, the bunny. I know you love Allie. So, but if you want to make All Out the event, it should be. I think you just got to go to Impact to be like, hey, we really should cross over and, really do this up. So how about this segment with Andrade and Death Triangle and Greg Chavo Guerrero? Yeah, that's all I got. Like that was the big surprise. Like their big surprises aren't always the big surprises. Right. Like if Charlotte Flair comes out there and is paired up with, Andrade, that's a big surprise. But, these, Mark Henry, Big Show. Now, the rumors, of course, are running that Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, until I see either one of those guys in the ring physically doing something, they're just rumors. But, one of those 2 guys is that holy shit moment. Part of my French. Like, that is Chavo Guerrero, though, Greg. I'm like, all right. Like, yay. And this whole, and I get you're in Texas, so you're speaking in Spanish, but I didn't know what the hell they were saying. So I kind of, it's hard to buy, what they're saying. I'm thinking ultimately Penta and Phoenix have to side with Andrade. But then who joins up with Pac? Does Pac just go on his own? But I think ultimately you get Ray Phoenix, and you get Penta El Cerro, you get Alex, you get Chavo. I mean, this is just a big and this is legit La Familia. This is an edge with, him and Vicky and Andrade or and Chavo. Sorry, Chavo was there. But yeah, so Greg, does ultimately this become Phoenix, Andrade, and Penta all as a unit?
Yeah, I've got that. That's what they were shooting for, with him coming out and speaking in Spanish and just targeting Ray and Penta. Playing up the whole, we're luchadors, we're Latinos, we should be together, and Pac, why are you here? Is kind of what the whole tone of that segment was about. So, and I think even I've looked at those 3 being Pop, Ray, and Phoenix, and going, okay, one of these things is not like the other, but they're all awesome. But what was the thread that brought those 3 together? I get the Lucha Bros, of course, but how did Pac become part of the puzzle? So it makes sense, and if you look at it in the sense of pulling them apart and putting Pentagon and Ray, Alex, Chavo, Andrade, and
That's,
it
that's a
all
big
looks
ass group too.
yeah. But they all look the part. They all look like
Yeah.
they could have come from the same family or the same group of luchadors, and so uh, it makes sense. And I think eventually it'll happen. And maybe I'm trying to decide with Andrade, it has to be a heel faction. I don't see
Yeah.
Andrade playing a babyface anytime soon.
Yeah.
Um, and they become, the big heel faction, and Dark Order becomes the babyface faction that
Because
were
they
the
already
heels.
are. I mean, it's already so. And you could
Right.
have those two kind of go at it. Now, could Pac? I mean, Buddy Murphy was out there. Like I'm thinking about guys he could bring in, but Buddy Murphy isn't. Do you want a League of Nations like Miro, Kip Sabian, Pac, Buddy Murphy? Um, I don't know who else. And that, but I because Kip Sabian's been on the shelf for some time, so I don't know when he's due back. But Pac is probably going to just have to do his own thing because that he seems best by himself. So
Yeah,
if he
I
does
agree.
have anybody, that's fine. So and Miro's kind of doing his own thing as the redeemer and whatever that's supposed to be. It does feel like that's the best fit for Miro right now. So yeah, I guess we'll just wait and see. But let's just we had Orange Cassidy defeat the Blade with the Orange Punch because the Brass Knucks got involved. I think we might see more there. I want to get to the final match, though, Greg, because we were just talking about Lance Archer and like where the hell is he going? And the hell is he? The road he was going to is the IWGP title, which I did not foresee happening. I not that John Moxley would hold it forever, but the way they were building up Lance Archer wasn't anything. So this was pretty big of a surprise. Good just battle for it. And then we did see Hayakuli, I think, or I forget how you say his name, because now he'll get the next title shot. And I think that's happening next week. I could be wrong, or it's happening soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Greg, what do you think about Lance Archer grabbing the title off Moxley? And where does Moxley go? Because now, do you put Moxley back in? I feel like Moxley's going to be in that weird limbo. Like we don't know. We might just have to throw him some matches and see where we could put him at.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him take the L in that match. Death matches, anything can happen. I was hoping for a good old school death match, and it wasn't quite old school, but it was still a good death match. And the bump that finished the match was a really good bump, going through the double tables with the double barbed wire
Yep.
platforms on top. I know I wouldn't have got it from that. And it's a legitimate way to put Archer over, beating Mox, face full of blood, brutal match, and now he's a champ, so now he looks like $1,000,000. Son of Haku up next, and we don't know anything about this guy other than unless you're watching Japanese wrestling. I guess he's in Japan. So we just know that the Samoan guys can go, and they said he was 6'8", so he's gonna be a fraction taller than Lance Archer. Should be a brutal match, and so it's something to look forward to. Where does Moxley go? He's gonna go back home to Renee on baby duty, and then I think that it would be a good time to put him back into the Elite storyline, and hunting down Kenny Omega. The list of allies to go against the Elite is still running thin, and it'd be a good time to put him back in the mix for Kenny Omega because he's going to have to drop to somebody, and Mox would definitely be a legit name to put into the hat.
Yeah. Well, that was Fighter Fest Night 2, and now, Greg, you'll be live there in person for Fight for the Fallen, so you'll have to give us all the juicy details of that. Let's take another commercial break. We're actually going to do 2 in a row for you. We'll do a little realty talk, then we'll get our Rogue Energy out, and then we'll finish up with SmackDown. What a show this has been, though. We've given you all the different angles on today's show. I think it's been one of the best Superkickin episodes we've had, Greg. I don't want to jinx it, but yeah. So
yeah,
Sean Nugent, get some Rockstar Realty talk for you, and then we'll give you some Rogue Energy and come right back to get ready for SmackDown and finish up the week.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSports1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322. And make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
Alrighty, so SmackDown. Some stuff happened last night on SmackDown. Finn Balor, John Cena came out, first, and talked up his challenge to Roman Reigns, and we will get the answer later on in the night. Finn Balor, though, came out and defeated Sami Zayn. I thought a really good match for Finn Balor back on SmackDown. I love the entrance. I was doing it at home with him and all that, and that's a song that you like to keep on your phone too, Greg, that you just kind of throw on when you're working out, or I would go on walks and have that in the background. Good match for Finn Balor back. Any thoughts on the Finn Balor Sami Zayn match there?
Yeah. Number one, that was my ringtone for a few minutes. It's still on my phone, and right now it's Aleister Black's music. But yeah, him and Sami had a good match. I expected them to do. I'm nervous about Finn coming back and back to his old ways. I'm hoping that it's better this time in the sense that he gets to carry that swagger he got back in NXT, bring it up as far as his ring work, his promo style, and being a little more harder edged, and shooting for the top, and they said he's coming back to win championships, right? Which he did at the end of the night. So I don't want the same Finn Balor that went down. I want the one that we got after he went down. So this match was a good start. So happy to see Finn back right now. So I just hope they get more better mileage out of him this time than before he went down last time.
Well, no, of course we always forget. We don't forget, but Finn was the first Universal Champion, and he beat Roman on the way to that. And unfortunately, you get hurt in the match. We can't. Now, I think that I wonder if that hurt him more confidence-wise than anything else. So maybe he could never get back to that point. And the booking probably didn't help him at times, but emotionally, you wonder as well. Like if you're at the highest of highs and then you get hurt, you're probably at the lowest of lows, trying to get back. So I can't remember, Greg, but I know there was that big segment with Big E, Apollo Crews, Robert Roode, Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, which really meant nothing because it just happened and then it was gone. but am I misremembering? Was that after this match?
Yeah, that was after that match.
Okay, I couldn't remember when that happened, but it was Big E talking, and then Apollo Crews came out, and then Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler came out for some reason. I don't know why they'd want to go the IC title when they're a tag team, especially when we saw their backstage segment with Kevin Owens and Baron Corbin. So then we had Cesaro coming out. So maybe I'll pick up some of my 40 that I spilt last week, Greg, and put it back in the bottle for Cesaro, because luckily he didn't have to face Chad Gable in Miami or Otis in Miami. Maybe he is in the IC title picture.
Yeah, well, it didn't make sense, but my guess is that them doing the whole simulcast thing is that they just brought out the principal characters, and then they probably had like a 6-man match while the Rolling Loud couple of matches was going on.
Do you think they think they might have simulcast it?
It would have made the most sense, yeah.
But then again, we don't know because they didn't show the crowd
right
SmackDown. So maybe, like you said,
so
maybe they just did
that to keep it going while that was the filler match while we at home are watching what's happening in Miami.
Yeah. And you could have McAfee and still call that. And that's the thing. I thought maybe they might have had like 2 other announcers call that. They only did 2 matches, so I guess it doesn't make sense. Even though you flew, Angelo Dawkins, Chad Gable, Otis, Montez Ford, Bianca Belair, and Carmelo down there, and a referee, and Alicia Taylor, the announcer, because it sounded like unless she was there at the state, she could have been there at the arena. But so we did get the 2 matches at Rolling. I keep wanting to say Rolling Rock, Rolling Loud. Angelo Dawkins defeated Chad Gable. Wally was there. It seemed like the Rolling Loud crowd did not know what to do. Like,
yeah,
I don't, or maybe they didn't know maybe they had no idea that there was going to be wrestling there. Bianca Belair, of course, defeats Carmella. I thought we might have seen Sasha come out because I thought that could have got a pop. And I still don't know what the hell is going on with Sasha because, she still hasn't shown up yet. And what's next for Bianca Belair? So, a couple matches there. Did you have anything to add there, Greg, like I said, I thought the crowd was just like, give us music. Like they didn't know what,
right.
I don't know if the crossover was as strong. I feel like you need now granted, it's probably going to sound like racist, but the people they set there, I felt like would have played to that crowd. Does that make
no, I totally get what you did. Yeah.
Like NXT did the big rock festivals in England, and then they had Rhea Ripley there and those type, Aleister Black, like these dark. So, you set the people you thought, but the crowd did nothing. And I don't know if you really got I don't know if Rolling Loud played up the wrestling aspect because it felt like, that was announced about a month ago. So you had time. It didn't seem like the crossover was what they wanted.
Yeah. I actually kind of felt bad for them. I know it's cool to be up there in front of all those people, but at the same time, to be in front of all those people who aren't aware,
they might not even know who they are,
that you're there, right? Don't know who you are, don't know why you're there. A segment of them probably have no idea, who or what WWE is. Mm-hmm. They could have thought it was a boxing match. They could have thought it was, bare knuckle fighting. They could have thought it was anything. They definitely did not get the reaction, the response that they want. It was a good idea to bring out Street Profits with Wale because, they get to, he's giving them his credibility by bringing them out. And so he said, these are the guys you should be hyped for. And then that carries over into the match, ideally.
But the crowd wasn't hyped.
No, the crowd was not hyped.
Well, you got to think too, like the people in the way, like how they didn't show it on the screen, I don't think. So how did the people, that crowd went pretty deep. Like how in the hell did those people in the back even they had to look like, that to them. Like there was no way, that they even looked like anything. So you at least should have put it on that screen was behind them,
Yeah, I like the idea, but you need to do it in a setting that's more relevant to what they're trying to accomplish.
When Limp Bizkit gets reunited, Greg, that's where they should go. They could have Undertaker out there singing "Rollin'," and you could get. I still remember that WrestleMania that Limp Bizkit did. I think it was 3 songs. I know they did 2 at least, like 21, 20, whatever. It was in the 20s range, and Limp Bizkit was out there like 2 different times for musical acts. But when Limp Bizkit and Nickelback announced their co-headlining tour that will play at the state fairs, then you may want to bring that crowd back. But I guess what I'm saying is, Greg, I don't think they'll be invited back to Rolling Loud next year, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. Good idea, but bad execution.
You need maybe bigger stars. Do you think you need John Cena down there? You need Roman, Street Profits. They're middle tier. I think the crowd loves them, the WWE crowd, but it's not. They're not those figures that, like you said, a Rolling Loud, rap fan would recognize. Like John Cena shows up, I think there might be actually some reaction. Even if you give John Cena a 5-minute squash match against, Chad Gable, because that's pretty much what Angelo Dawkins did. And, and I thought Bianca and Carmella, and once again, are they names that people know? Like Sasha comes out there. Even then, I don't know if Sasha's maybe that crossover. I mean, she was in The Mandalorian for a couple episodes or 3 episodes, so maybe she does have that crossover appeal. But Bianca right now, she's so new, and Carmella, they don't have that crossover appeal right now.
Right.
But anyways, but let's get to the good segment, which was next, Edge and Seth Rollins. And by the way, kudos to the person in the front row that decided to dress like Dumb and Dumber, and then you had Edge coming out dressed like Dumb and Dumber. I mean, I don't know if they planned that or not, but that was a pretty good little crossover there. Speaking of, you had that. I don't know if you saw him, the fan in the top hat, and he was in the front row, camera side, and he looked like the Dumb and Dumber. And then you had Edge or Seth Rollins coming out there. But this is a match, Greg, I'm looking forward to at SummerSlam. We already got the built-in factor of when Edge already played a role with Seth Rollins. And that's when I was like, if Edge gets physical, he's going to get – and I thought then, maybe Edge could come back then because he got so physical in the ring. It wasn't much physical, but it was enough. So and there was, some truth to it about it. So, and if we could get Becky and Beth Phoenix involved down the road, I mean, that could be a really fun kind of intergender match down the road. So,
True.
Maybe Royal Rumble time. Maybe you have all 4 of those kind of go at it. But I will be curious which direction they go. Who wins? Because, is Edge I don't usually like to agree with Vince Russo, but he had kind of thoughts that Edge is the next part-time legend that they'll call upon. And I'm okay with that, because Edge could still go in the ring. Edge still has appeal, unlike Goldberg. You got Taker gone. You have John Cena, here and there. You have The Rock. Edge is going to be that next tier because right now, you got Christian in AEW, so you can't use Christian. You can't use Big Show, Mark Henry. Those guys are gone. Edge is kind of that next, guys that, well, it's really just him. I mean, Batista's done, it seems like, for good, maybe because he got the match he wanted with Triple H. Triple H is another name in that Edge vein. Like, does Triple H come back here and there? So Edge and Seth Rollins is really going to be a match to watch to see which direction they go. And I was all in on this segment, and I'm sure you were all in on it as well.
Yeah, it was a great segment. And I would definitely sign up for that with Edge being that next guy up. Definitely a whole lot more over than Goldberg. Edge can he can give you a hot
He
promo.
does so much more.
He can give you more than a 5-minute match. The guy can, he's just as good as he was, 10 years ago. And give with a reduced workload and some choice rivalries, and then he just fades off the camera for a few months. You can get a good number of years out of him for a long while, and still maintain 4 or 5-star matches in quality, unlike Goldberg matches. So I hope that's true. And this segment was great with their back and forth, and it makes me look forward to their SummerSlam match. Probably there's second or third as far as the matches I'm looking forward to seeing the most.
Yeah. Toni Storm made her debut, so it's Tony time. She defeated Zelina Vega. I was kind of mixed with that, that idea, because Zelina really hasn't. Now, granted, she got called into the Money in the Bank match. She had her moments there. She lose to somebody the week before? Did she lose to Liv Morgan? Or am I mistaken? Okay.
No, she did.
So if you would have had Liv out there, maybe distracting Zelina to get Toni the win, I get that. But then again, Toni Storm picking up the win without any help is probably better for Toni Storm. So maybe I'm just kind of overthinking things. Did you like the win by Toni Storm last night, Greg?
I did. The thing with Zelina is I don't think I've ever seen her win a match. So the fact that she lost this match doesn't surprise me. Okay. She might be there just to be the job squad for the other rising talents like Toni Storm.
Or pick up wins if she needs it or something, like a gatekeeper type.
Yeah. I mean, without, somebody to, doing it on her own, she's not that girl. I don't ever see her as, holding the title. She just doesn't have that to her. With Alexa, you can see that possibility. With Zelina, not so much. I know they're pretty much the same size, but the way they come across in the ring and in promos, you can see a night and day difference. Just putting those two side by side. So with Zelina, it doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if she had won the match. And Toni looked great. I can legit see how most people may not be familiar with her because she's on UK. The biggest majority of her WWE wrestling life. She's done a couple matches on the regular brand. But she's a UK phenom, and I think her finish looked pretty awesome. So I think she tweaked it a little bit, and it looks even better. So it's called Storm 1 instead of Storm 0. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with her, because she has that it to her that if they do it right, she can be a player.
Exactly. And then we did have Jimmy Uso defeat Dominic Mysterio, kind of building up them. But let's get to the end, because this is where it took a little swerve for us. So we had Roman Reigns come out there and deny John Cena's challenge, which I kind of liked, because, usually we just get these straight up, I always accept, begrudgingly. But this is Roman saying, I'm above this. But then Finn Balor comes out there, which I didn't foresee coming, and say, if you don't want to answer his challenge, how about mine? And then he accepts Finn Balor's. Now, they could either play this up. It happens next week, the week after. I think this match happens as a middle ground to get to Cena and Reigns.
Exactly.
No offense to Finn Balor, but Finn Balor and Roman Reigns is not a SummerSlam main event. I mean, just right now. Finn would need some time to kind of get back in that, that spotlight. So, I mean, even when Finn won the title, I think that was the middle of the night, wasn't it? It wasn't I don't think that was the final match at that SummerSlam that he won the title against Seth. If I remember right, I thought there was still another match. Was it maybe Brock and Taker or something? Was that the same night? I don't know. But anyways.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll get my research squad to get on that, which is myself. But anyways, so Finn Balor and Roman, I think happens, and maybe he plays it up like Lashley and says, well, you challenged me, but you did say for the title or something stupid like, semantics.
Right.
But I think this does happen in the next week or so. And even if Finn loses, he's still better for it. Like, it shows that we want Finn back in that title picture. So, but, it's got to be Roman Reigns. It's got to be John Cena. SummerSlam main event. Like, we're getting that. That's where we want to go, and that's where we should go. So, but Greg, what do you think about Finn Balor showing up? You brought it up earlier. We got to rebook him, and it looks like they're at least giving him that shine right away, just like they did last time on the Raw debut.
Yeah, and it's what I expected to happen, partly. Because like we said earlier, that you're going to have to fill in those weeks between now and SummerSlam, and they're not going to be, pull apart fights every week. So there's going to have to be some back and forth and, promos going back and forth. So it only makes sense that Roman would come out and, give me this is the same John Cena speech and then say no. And that lays the groundwork for Cena to have to come out and convince him or diss him to the point where, okay, now you're going to get it kind of thing. And, but yeah, that swerve got me too when he said no and he's talking like, okay, waiting for the Cena music to hit and Finn's music hits. Oh, okay. And then I started thinking about Finn and Cena at SummerSlam, and in the sense that it would be more realistic in the fact that Finn's going to be full time and John Cena is here for a good time, and he's probably going to disappear after the end of the summer. So if there would be a title change, it would make more sense that Finn would win it, given his track record, given the fact that he was the first champ, so on and so on. So I get it, but I also had the same thought of next week coming out and having a match that's the main event of SmackDown, or you get your match, but it's not a title match, and maybe Finn wins, and then one thing I don't want is a triple threat. Yeah, and that scares me every time you throw a third person into the mix like that.
Roman and Cena do not need a third like if you already got Heyman involved, not involved, but I don't think you need Finn in there because Finn's promos are hit or miss at times as well. So I think that would just be too much stuff right there. So, and then of course I'm thinking if Roman doesn't like to do missionary every time, what does he like to do?
Wow, that line got me. Holy crap!
I know you talk about
that line got everybody.
You get the usual curse word, but I was like, whoa, that's a little, some of the little kids are probably turning their moms and dads and being like, what's missionary? And the mom and dads are like, damn it, Roman Reigns, why'd you bring that up? So our wife's probably at home like, oh, is that how he really feels? He's got a few kids. He's got 4 or 5 kids, and I think one of them is twins. So obviously, he's probably done a few different ways. But yeah, that line.
That was a great line, though. Kenny Omega's jealous of that line.
Yeah, because we've already heard, Kenny try to go toe the line on that, and if we could get a crossover. Kenny Omega and Roman can you imagine a match? and like Dallin Callis, Paul Heyman going at each other. Like, I mean,
yeah, that
come
would be
on,
amazing.
wrestling gods, just work together. Give us the Elite and New Day. Give us, Kenny Omega and Seth. Like, because that was brought up on BTE. Like, they were like, we had Matt Hardy saying, well, Kenny, you're better than Roman, Cena, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley. And then one of the Young Bucks is like, what about Seth Rollins? He's like, oh, yeah, you're definitely better than Seth Rollins. Like, because, Seth is always that talker on Twitter that likes to bring up things. But, I mean, if we could just get an all-out, like, Survivor Series of brand versus brand, Impact Wrestling's best, AEW's best, Ring of Honor's best, maybe the best independent, like, just come on. Like, can't we all just get along? Like, just one night only, just give it to us. Give us all, dream matches, like legit dream matches, not,
Yeah.
Sometimes they say the dream match tag, and I'm like, is it really a dream match? Like, but, well, that is our show today. Wow. Whew. I was chugging water during the breaks, Greg, as you saw. So we definitely lived it up. I might need to get that Rogue Energy for next time. So did you have any final parting shots you'd like to throw out there for our, the end of the show?
Yeah, just lots to unpack, and it's so much better now with us being able to do these shows, knowing crowds are back, how they're responding, and the show quality is so much better right off the bat.
Yes.
Those first Raws, those first SmackDowns, the first AEWs in front of real crowds, not just a few hundred people, 10% capacity in front of all the people. It's super exciting. I'm loving it. And I'm super stoked to go to my first AEW show in 4 days from now. And I'm
excited for you. Like, it's really awesome. And like I said, definitely check out if you could see any meet and greets. If they're doing, I don't know if they're doing that because of COVID, but you definitely need to see if they have any good meet and greets available, and go check that out, because that's always cool just to get a picture with somebody and talk to them for a minute or two, and you feel like you get the best form of them because they want to be there and they want it's not like they have it's not like them doing a convention and they're kind of feeling like they're obligated. I mean, this is probably them saying they want to do a meet and greet type deal. So
right,
and you got
ahead of not being able to see anybody,
exactly.
any fans for a year and a half, so they're going to be a little more receptive than probably usual.
Exactly. And you got a pretty good card for Fight for the Fallen. So I'm definitely excited for you. I don't know when my next wrestling event will be, because right now WWE's just announced all the 25 dates for the closest we got is Cincinnati. I think they're coming there. And then I'm hearing Extreme Rules will be in Columbus, Ohio, but I don't think I can swing that. So, because Extreme Rules is going to be next month for the pay-per-view. So they kind of moved it. I always like Extreme Rules at the end of the year, though. I think that should be like a winter. I don't know why, like SummerSlam, obviously summer, WrestleMania when it's at Royal Rumble. Like, I don't know. I always think of Extreme Rules. Like when we had Extreme Rules in the summertime, I don't know. It really didn't fit because you got all the violence and, maybe that's why. But anyway, but thank you for watching us. We love this Brittany gal. She was in the chat. We're going to get in touch with her, maybe bring her on. I think she's a bare knuckles fighter as well. So maybe we could have her talk that up,
Nice.
Combat fighting and, get her involved. And she said she'd be more than happy to, shoot the breeze with us and kind of talk that up. But I'm just excited for, this whole CM Punk and Daniel Bryan stuff, like that just gets my brain going. Like, where are they going to end up? Because whenever that happens, we might have to do an emergency show that day, because
for sure
the internet will blow up. And if we want to get the most views, that'd probably be it. So that's the biggest story, right? Like, that is the summer storyline sizzling right now. But definitely get in touch with us if you want to be involved with the show. I'm going to get my friend Jay on that we had before for, was it Royal Rumble or something? He came on with us before. We're going to get him for SummerSlam. and kind of get a 3-person booth going to kind of give our predictions for that. So, and that'll be fun because we'll do our preview the day of SummerSlam. So that'll be kind of fun to have, that energy of SummerSlam on us. I love the idea of pay-per-views because we didn't bring this up, Greg. They're going to do a New Year's Day pay-per-view on Saturday, January 1st. They just announced that with Trae Young and I think it was Bianca Belair in Atlanta. So we'll get a pay-per-view on New Year's Day, which is kind of cool. Like somebody said, why are you not bringing back New Year's Revolution? And maybe they'll have a little setup for that. But thank you for watching me. You can follow me at Stephen A1181 on Twitter. Catch us Superkickin with Steven, BW Sports 1, all the fun shows. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.